Yeah, it's funny. Like I say, I never really intended to do. I mean, all I was I was just a child inventor that invented the steam engine, and then I invented the steam shovel. And with a little simple. It was a really easy way of doing it. Thought it was better than the manual labor. And then later on, I invented the V8 engine and other engines, and also the wing, and flight, and figured all that out. If you look at my Facebook, you'll see how I figured that out. But I never really intended to really be a part of uranium. Uranium was just a yellowish powder that I knew about, and they were using the trains to truck it back and forth. It went to White Scale, which was basically, I mean, I just cared about the steel research really at White Scale. I wanted them to be working on steel, to make better steam vessels and better steel, because I really love steel and steam, and wanted to do other things with it. Um, but my involvement with uranium, I never really intended to get involved with uranium. I never wanted to get involved with uranium. It was just something that people discovered the power of the atom and all that stuff, and well, mostly I had decided that I wanted to set up pre 1900 or 1920. I wanted to set up a town with the best and the brightest from around the world. The geniuses, the top 1%. I was like, well, maybe they can do something special. And so I wanted to set up this special town of geniuses. And I said, I'll foot the bill, no problem. Because I mean, basically I already had steam power and steam engines and all that, already going for me. So I was like, yeah, I'll pay for it. I don't mind. It's fine. I'm a young child. Doesn't really matter to me. So, and then they started messing around, and then there's this uranium stuff, which people talked about, and then they started messing around with it, and then they started saying things like the atom and how cool it was and how it could power everything. I was like, oh, great, cool. And like with the reactors, all I cared about was the metal. Really, I was like, ooh, cool, new metals, awesome, that's awesome. And they were, and uranium was basically a metal too. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Um, I never really intended to get that into uranium, but then, like I say, like I changed my name, created the American government, and then that kind of forced me into getting into uranium that way. But also, moreover, I was just, you know, I never cared for uranium, and nuclear energy never really even. It wasn't something I wanted to get into. As far as I knew, like in the beginning, in a lot of different stages, it was just a big mess of problems. I mean, I'm happy with coal and oil and all that other stuff. I was perfectly happy with that. But people said it was really great and really awesome, and they were testing out my metal, the zirconium or whatever, the really spiffy cool metal, which I said Z something or other. I said Zar, I don't know. I said Z something or other, I think, for the name of it. I didn't really care for it didn't really matter to me. I might have said zirconium just because it's like a weird name for it. Whatever. I just like a weird name for it. Um, I invented the tri drill bit, but that they use for augering down, and lots of different things. As the American government person. Anyway, but uranium really wasn't that big of a deal for me. I didn't want to get into it. I really did not. And then they started getting into it, and they started saying there was problems, and then death and destruction, and it was just, just working with it seemed to be like a bad idea. I mean, it wasn't bad at first. People just got kind of sick, and they knew just to basically kind of stay away from it. But the more they got it purified, the more they got into the isotopes, the more dangerous it became, the more I had to react to that and to keep people safe, And like I say, I really didn't know much about it myself. They were kind of keeping that from me a little bit, so I didn't really know all that much. Other than I just wanted my metal tested out, which they were doing. Um, and so like I never really intended to become like this nuclear kingpin. It wasn't really like that. I never really wanted uranium as anything other than just to help people and help with the power needs of people. So it's kind of funny how, because I was always so safe and because I always cared so much, people kind of trusted me more. And because, I did send NASA to go and do space suits and all that to protect people. So I just kind of ended up becoming this like nuclear kingpin person, which was never really my intention at all. I never really meant to do that. I never wanted to do it. As far as uranium mining and uranium stuff, and plus, well, possibly because I was steam shovels and steam engines and the Titanic and stuff, and that's how I kind of got forced into it really over the years because that was where I was at, and then I invented flight and stuff, and then that just kind of forced me into this whole uranium hell that basically took me to help manage and do all kinds of things with, and that's how that kind of got all going. I mean, if you doing your research on me, and if you really look out there, I'm sure there's lots of videos on this, and lots of videos on the different sites that were set up that I actually even paid to have set up. Basically, well, I didn't really pay that. They wanted to set them up, so I said okay. So I mean, it's not like I really was going for it. And then like when they created the first neutron, the first two atom bombs, I was like, okay, those two are mine because I paid for the whole town and everything, so mine. And then they kind of got stolen or whatever, and had to make two more, and it was just, and then those got dropped, which I really didn't want to drop, but I never wanted to become the king of death. It wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to be a happy, good person. I really didn't even want to rule a country or rule the world. I just, as you know, could basically afford it. It's kind of weird how it works out. And how relative it is, and how, it's just kind of one of these weird things because, like I am, it's true, and yet, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Anyway, if you do any research, you'd probably know a lot more about me than I know about myself.